What's up, everyone? My name is Kwale, and welcome to another Live Talk COVID-19 series. I'm here proudly representing the U.S. Pan-Asian American Chamber of Commerce, serving as the president for the Northeast region. Before we kick off the show, I want to let you know how to do business with the Federal Reserve. So with us is Susan Allen, National CEO, President for the U.S. Pan-Asian American Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Susan.
And welcome, everybody. I'm Susan Allen from the U.S. Pan-Asian American Chamber of Commerce. This is Live Talk 13, how to do business with the Federal Reserve System. Who are they? What do they do? What do they need to buy? $1.9 billion a year to support this Federal Reserve System. How do small and minority and women-owned businesses get a piece of that action, a bite of that pie of $1.9 billion a year? Well, to tell us all that is a good friend of 7 years, Melissa Williams, as the Supply Diversity Program Manager for the Federal Reserve Board of Governor of the Federal Reserve System. She's responsible for making sure that the Federal Reserve System's purchasing processes include women and minority businesses. Melissa, where are you? Show up and tell us all about that.
Okay, Susan, thank you for having me today, and more importantly, having this platform.
The many years that you have been attending our events, have you found any suppliers with Asian, other minorities, and diverse businesses you have met that you've been able to do business with them?
Yes, Susan, as a matter of fact, being a member of the U.S. Pan-Asian Chamber of Commerce, membership definitely has its privileges. We have met several of your members that they're doing business with us, and they provide us excellent service. We actually look at the relationship we have with your members who are doing business with us as a strategic partner to provide the board with the solutions and products that we need to actually carry out the mission. We look so forward to celebration. We look forward to that. Actually, I attended my first celebration in California, and I actually met a vendor during that time. And again, we have a strategic partnership with them, and they provide us excellent service. It's Anne and her team with Ampcus. As a matter of fact, I think we have Anne with us today to share with you just how easy it is to do business with the board.
Okay, shall we invite Anne in?
Yes, please invite Anne in. But what I would like to do, you can bring Anne on, but I want to tell you a little bit about Anne and her team. Anne is the CEO and founder of Ampcus, a minority woman-owned company. She's a technology entrepreneur with more than 18 years contributing toward the design, the development, and the delivery of leading edge technology. Anne and her team, when we met, they were a small company. Today, they are a large company. And I contribute Anne's success to investing in her people, processes, and the infrastructure. Globally, she has over 1,400 employees. And the beauty about Anne investing in her employees, even during this pandemic, she has not furloughed any of her employees. Anne, will you join us?
Absolutely, Marlita. Greetings. Good afternoon, Susan and Marlita, and greetings to all, and welcome to USPAACC's Live Talk on how to do business with the Federal Reserve System. Really excited to be here.
And thank you so much for joining us. So Susan and I was just talking about small and minority and women-owned businesses doing business with the Federal Reserve. And I know you've been with us for quite some time. So rather than me kind of talk about how easy it is to do business with the board and the system, I thought perhaps you can share with the vendors just how easy it is to do business with us.
Sure, absolutely, Marlita. We'll be more than happy to share our perspective as a supplier on how easy it is to do business with the Federal Reserve System as a whole. So ladies and gentlemen, we met, my team and I, we met Marlita for the first time in California. Can you believe it? We are headquartered here in Chantilly, Virginia, but when we attended the USPAACC conference in California, my team and I met Marlita for the first time. So Marlita, I would say, even though the Federal Reserve System looks pretty complex because if you think about it, you have the Federal Reserve Board, the Board of Governors, you have 12 banks, and you have the Federal Open Market Committee. If you look at it, it looks pretty complex, but I still would say that it's still easy to do business with the Federal Reserve System because the people that work within the Federal Reserve System are very passionate of what they do. You all do invest your time and money in hosting several outreach events and bringing potential vendors up to speed on not just how to do business with the Federal Reserve System as a whole, but also how to expand your presence within the Federal Reserve System. And the second main reason why I say it's pretty easy to do business with the Federal Reserve System is because people are very open-minded. They're very open to connecting with potential vendors, learning more about them, learning more about their business, and having them connect to some of the key stakeholders within the Federal Reserve System so that we get invited to bid. So there's a lot of time and money that's invested by the Federal Reserve System representatives and stakeholders in making sure that potential vendors soon become vendors, and also to ensure that vendors continue to expand their presence within the Federal Reserve System. So as long as the business is in good standing, they're financially stable, and they've continued to do work with utmost honesty and integrity and have the experience working in the regulated market or regulated industry, I think it's fairly easy to do business with the Federal Reserve System. But they do pay a lot of emphasis on honesty and integrity because think about it, right? It's heavily regulated. They have Congress oversight, and they want to, when they look for suppliers, just like how Madhulika mentioned earlier, they're not just looking to add a vendor or bring in a supplier. They're looking for strategic suppliers who could help the Federal Reserve Board, Board of Governors, or the banks, or the FOMC navigate through some of the challenges and bring the projects to finish line. I think people that work within the Federal Reserve System has made it easy for potential vendors. And no matter what, I mean, if you go ahead and attend some of the technology or the procurement or the diversity conferences, you would see many of the stakeholders from the Federal Reserve System manning that booth. You would see stakeholders from, you would see Madhulika and her team from the Federal Reserve Board and Board of Governors, and then you would also see several program managers from other banks. And when they come really prepared. And when I say they come prepared, they come with, they do keep some of the upcoming bids in mind. And when some of the potential vendors walk up to them and talk to them about, what are some of, share the capabilities and talk to them about how to do business, they are there not just listening to you, but they're also there mapping your capabilities to some of the upcoming bids and getting you introduced to some of the stakeholders, in the coming weeks. So I think people make the difference. Although the procurement process within Federal Reserve System is decentralized, I think people within the Federal Reserve System, there's several, and in fact, many of the advocates and champions out there who want to see potential vendors become vendors, and who also want to see existing suppliers continue to be expanding their presence within the Federal Reserve System. So absolutely, Madhulika, I would say it's easy to be doing business with the Federal Reserve System.
Well, thank you, Ann. I just want to add, Susan, as Ann mentioned, doing business with the system, the board is an independent government agency, and the reserve banks, as I mentioned, are the operating arms, and they're more like nonprofit corporations. So, Ann, when you were doing business with the board, so you're doing business with the federal government, you're doing business with banks, can you share some advice to a small minority or just a vendor in general on any advice that would be helpful to kind of navigate it? Because we may be intimidated because it's 15 different opportunities, but I like to tell people it's really, really easy, and we like to help them navigate. But can you share your experience on and advice on how easy it is?
Sure, absolutely. So Malita, from our perspective, we started supporting the Federal Reserve Board of Governors since 2015, and we are still supporting them. So we were brought into, we have two major contracts where we've been supporting the Federal Reserve Board and Board of Governors. And then we, thanks to program managers like you, Malita, you've been very instrumental in our success and growth within the Federal Reserve System. Several program managers within the Federal Reserve Board and Board of Governors have got us introduced to some of the stakeholders within those banks. And today we not just do business with the Federal Reserve Board, but we also do business with the Federal Reserve banks. So Marlita, from our perspective, some of the tips that I would suggest to some of the potential vendors is start small. And if you decide to start supporting the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, the first thing is they've made the entire process very easy and simple. So if you just go visit federalreserve.gov, even the vendor registration process, it's very simple. I know suppliers do get intimidated when clients direct them in the direction of supplier registration, but if you go to federalreserve.gov and go click on the vendor registration or the supplier registration, believe me, they're not asking for tons of information. All that they're asking for is your company details, your federal tax ID number, your DNB number, your NACIS codes, and then define your company, right? Is it diverse or non-diverse, small or large, and then go ahead and submit. And once you do that, once you go ahead and reach out to program managers like Marlita with the Board of Governors, as well as other program managers within banks, they will help navigate you through. And once the trust and confidence is built, they would go ahead and share your details with some of the key stakeholders on some of the upcoming opportunities of bid so that you get a chance to bid. I want people to know that they do not publicize all of their bids or the upcoming RFPs to public. You have to be invited to bid. So if it is a smaller dollar value contract, they would go ahead and do a sole source. But if you are, bidding on some of the complex projects, then they go the competitive bid route. So through the competitive bid process, we won two contracts with the Federal Reserve Board and Board of Governors. And then we slowly try to expand our presence within the Federal Reserve System. And today we also have prime contracts with some of the banks where we're doing project-based work, and we also have some banks where we're supporting the managed service provider. So start small and then expand your presence within the Federal Reserve System, because you guys just heard Marlita say they're spending over $1.6 billion. So, and one good thing of them having a decentralized procurement process is today, so for example, if you decide to start reaching out to some of the banks within your region or territory, as I mentioned, there are 12 banks which are spread across the United States. So say, for example, if you're based in New York or New Jersey, you want to reach out to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. They have their own procurement process, right? You may want to go ahead, complete that small short vendor form and start reaching out to the program managers. And in case of the smaller dollar value contracts, they would go ahead and do a sole source. If it is a larger complex contracts, you want to be part of that competitive bid where they'll invite you to bid. Because it's not centralized and it's decentralized procurement process. Today, Federal Reserve Bank of New York may have a need, but that same need tomorrow, Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta may have that, or Chicago might have the other day, or St. Louis may have the other day, or San Francisco may have the other day. So I think it's important that you start small, start with one particular business unit, and then slowly try to expand your presence within the entire Federal Reserve System. The other thing that I want to bring to the attention of the audience is there have been times when some of the potential vendors have asked me, and what if you don't have the past performance supporting any of the business units within the Federal Reserve System? Or do you stand a chance? And I would say absolutely. If you remember, I did mention they're very open-minded. As long as you have the experience supporting any of the financial clients, you're good. Share that story, how you've helped some of your customers navigate through some of the challenges that they've had. Even if you don't have experience supporting some of the financial clients, talk to them about some of the experiences that you've had supporting some of the customers in a regulated industry segment, right? So you just have to share your story, and please help them help you. And what I'm trying to say by that is, the more information you give them, the more you talk about your company, the more they know you. The more they know you, they'll be able to connect you to some of the key decision makers within the Federal Reserve System, and you hold a chance of being invited to bid. And once you submit a very good, compelling proposal by backing a strong management as well as a technical proposal and pricing it right through your cost proposal, believe me, you hold a very good chance of being, awarded prime contracts. And the other thing that I want to mention about doing business with the Federal Reserve System is there's so many champions and advocates out there that they really want to see you succeed. So they're not just champions of supplier diversity, they're champions to the entire supplier community. They really want to see you succeed. So be patient, be focused, start small, and then expand, because there's so much that the Federal Reserve System has to offer. And please take advantage of all that the Federal Reserve System has to offer through their outreach events, through their vendor meetings, through their pre-bid meetings as well. You really want to go reach out to them, even during these unprecedented times when there are no in-person meetings or conferences. They're still hosting virtual meetings and webinars so that you could, learn a lot on not just how to do business, but also how to be successful as a supplier. So those are some of my tips to success, and that's how we've continued to expand our presence within the Federal Reserve System. And I can tell you one thing, Marlita, my team loves working with the Federal Reserve Board as well as the Federal Reserve banks and the entire Federal Reserve System because of the people. People make the difference.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ann. Wow, that was a lot. And I like to, Ann, since we're kind of collaborating here, to just share with you and to get your opinion, the benefit that I've gotten from being a member of the U.S. Pan-Asian Chamber of Commerce. Susan, did you want to add anything before we talk about the benefits that we get from being a member?
Well, Anne has so much to share. It is from her years of experience in the supply diversity marketplace, where she has been doing business as a minority, as a women-owned business. And she does her homework. She's very sincere. She's a major supporter of our organization. She is a champion of our programs. She brought a lot of value to us and other organizations. I must say, I'm saying it on national television, and then people notice Anne because of our work. Other organizations do the same thing that we do, have the similar mission, but have a different niche. They are women-owned, they are disability, they are African-American, more focused on African-American, even Hispanic business-focused organization, which is what this country is all about. We are a special interest country. They all take a page out of what we do and what Ann does, because when there's a good practice, why not emulate it? So Ann has been a great champion. I hope that all of you will play this again. Go to our website, go to YouTube and replace what Ann has said. Those are true wisdoms that she has collected through the many years that she has been in the contracting marketplace, both in the federal as well as in the private marketplace. Melissa, I think Ann has said a lot, and she gave a lot of kudos to the supply diversity managers in the ecosystem, whose goal is to make sure that minority and women and diverse businesses succeed. Many of them are. Some pay good lip service, I must say, and they have yet to be pulled into the ring. Okay, bring them into the ring. Some corporations of supply diversity manager are not quite there yet, but they're trying. They're trying, and we need to help them out. But many of the majority of them really try hard, but they need the corporation, their employers, to give them the resources. Give them the resources to get to the program. Give them a budget, not ask them to pay membership through credit cards. Okay, $5,000 credit card. You're kidding me? There's some corporations who are still doing that. So Melissa, why don't you share? And thank you for that long experience that you have shared with us, the details you could share show how good you are, how diligent you have been in studying your clients. And in our business, the first admonition that I always hear from the buying parties, whether it's government, quasi-government, or the corporation or large nonprofit, is do your due diligence, study my pain, know where I hurt, know where my problems are, come to me with a solution. Just don't tell me what's your problem, and I'll have the answer for you. And your long answer to Malitha's question truly answer all those queries. Thanks again. So this ends our COVID-19 series, Live Talk 13, how to do business with the Federal Reserve System. So to conclude the show, can I ask you to bring Malitha and Em back so that I can ask them one last thought that they may want to leave with the audience and the viewers?
Absolutely.
Malitha, would you like to go first?
Yes, again, Susan, thank you again for allowing me this platform to share the Federal Reserve doing business with. What I would like to leave with your members is that reach out to us. We're open for business and we're easy to do business with. And I hope they can join us for these upcoming webinars to learn exactly which acquisitions we have coming up and meet the program managers.
Thank you. And
yes, so from my end, I would urge the audience, if you are not part of USPAACC, please, get yourself, be active. USPAACC is a great organization, and Susan Allen, under her thought leadership, she and the organization has taken this organization to newer heights. So be part of USPAACC. We've been a member of USPAACC for over 13 years and can't tell you how much it's helped my team and I. Be part of USPAACC, be active and engaged, because through conferences and some of those events that USPAACC hosts is where you get to meet some key stakeholders and decision makers like Marlita. Magic happens there. So, look at USPAACC, look at the website, reach out to the team. There's so much that they have to offer. You heard Kwa say as well. He's pretty active at USPAACC as well. So take advantage of all that this organization has to offer. And as far as the Federal Reserve System is concerned, they're all good people. So go learn a little more about the Federal Reserve, and please help them help you so that you continue to be successful in the Federal Reserve System. With that, I hope all of you, please be safe, stay well, stay strong. Yes, we are in these unprecedented times, but bad times don't last for long. So hang in there. We're all in this together, and don't forget the best is yet to come. So here's wishing all of you all the very best.
Well done. Well said. Thank you so much. And don't forget, USPAACC is here for you. So long for now. See you the next time. Have a very nice week. Bye.
I've never known a brighter sunset, but every day I see it rise, until I saw it in your eyes.